Hey everyone. So today I wanted to talk to you about imposter syndrome. So for all of you who are thinking about starting a business or you have a business and you've had it for a while, there is one of the biggest things I find is the imposter syndrome. Now, that has a whole bunch of different things under one umbrella, but what it does do is it gets you to be someone that you're not, based on a lot of fears of what people will think, what people will, will they buy what I'm selling? Will they trust me? All of these things. So, I wanted to really talk to you guys about what I did and how I overcame that. And maybe this might be something that would help you in your business or in your life as well, because it's not really fun when you're trying to do something that you love and you're thinking that you're doing all the right things, but you're not being your true authentic self. And it's always been important, but I don't think people really realize the fact that you cannot fake it until you make it. You cannot pretend to be someone that you are not only energetically, because that's a really powerful topic. You cannot trick energy. So when you are energetically out of alignment or out of truth and authenticity with who you're being, energetically you're going to attract back to you what you're doing. So if you're being someone you're not meant to be, if you're being someone that's really not you, it's not your authentic self, that is not a coherent or a harmonized frequency. That's actually, it's an imposter. So it's being something negative. It's not being your true authentic self. So you're tricking others, or you're hoping other people will believe something that isn't true about yourself. So energetically, you're setting yourself up for a lot of challenges and complications. But when it comes down to understanding human beings, a lot of them are now more awake and in tune to how they feel. They're attracted to you because of who you are, how you're being. And a lot of us can tell now, and some of us have probably known our whole life, we can feel when something's off, when somebody's talking. You don't even need to be in their presence. You can feel it, you can see their posts, you can see things. And one of the things that I just feel like I feel so bad for these people who are doing this in their coaching business is when they're copying other coaches' copy. They're copying their branding. They're copying their names of their programs. And it just really makes me feel for them because they have no idea how powerful they are. And that if they just were to stop looking from outside and all the conditions and what's working for other people and start to really think about their own uniqueness and where they currently are, that's more important than trying to be somewhere that you're not yet, right? So I think a lot of things like the conditions, the paradigms, the expectations when you're an online coach or an entrepreneur is you're looking and comparing yourself to all these ones that are ahead of you, which is what we normally would do because that's how you learn from people. You're not going to go follow coaches that are where you are or at the where you've already been because you're not going to learn anything. So you're always putting yourself where you can learn more. There's something you don't know, there's something that's not working for you. So you're like, okay, if that coach is already doing this, then this person probably knows how to do it. I'm going to follow them, I'm going to buy their programs. But the big mistake we do, the fine line, is we start to think because they're successful, we try to be like who they are now, what their brand looks like, the words they use, how they're selling. But we're forgetting that for them to get to where they are, they had an evolution. They had a lot of growth, they had a lot of experiences, they had a lot of flops, they had a lot of experiences that weren't positive, but they kept going, evolving and growing. And this energetics that they carry with them, this wisdom that they carry with them, is what moves to and through their posts. It's what moves into and through their branding. It's their energy, it's their life, it's who they are, is in everything they do. So they didn't try to spiritually skip steps. They did the work. And this is where they're at. And now they're teaching from that place. What I find is a lot of people think, okay, if they're already there, they want to skip all the steps. They want to just get to the end and just start selling like this millionaire coach. They want to have the branding like them because they think if they look like them, sound like them, people will buy from them. Now, if you look at that and listen to that, it doesn't make any sense. Humans are a little bit smarter than that, especially the ones who are in entrepreneurship or wanting to coach and lead and be more individualized. Your fingerprint is unique to you. It's basic, but your fingerprint is unique to you. You are not meant to look like anyone else, sound like anyone else, act like anyone else, or be like anyone else. That is the biggest mistake that all of us have been conditioned to look like. We're supposed to all be similar, and we're not. The coaches, the entrepreneurs, the ones in business are the ones that trailblaze. They walk a line where most are not walking. They look right when everyone's looking left. They are willing to do what doesn't make sense. They're willing to follow their intuition. They're not doing what everyone else is doing, because why would people buy from you then? Why would they think you're any better than anyone else if you're doing what other people are doing? When I scan and go through sometimes the internet and I see the coaches, it's overwhelming how many times I see the same language, the same words, the same titles for different programs, all across the board, except for a couple. And the couple that don't do this are the ones that are making insane money, the ones that are trailblazing and walking a different line altogether, doing things that most people are terrified to do, making illogical moves. But in the move, they're getting illogical wealth in return. So these are the ones where I want to talk about, like the imposter syndrome, the fear of what people will think about you. I'm going to share with you what I did. Now, this may not work for you, but this is what I did, because one of the things that I loved was wanting my own business. Okay. I wanted my own business. I wanted to teach what I was in love with, what I was passionate about. I wanted to make a lot of money. I wanted to live an extraordinary life. I wasn't willing to fit the mold of what the system gives us. I wasn't available for that. But there's a lot of learning. There's a big learning curve, because there's so much that you have to stop thinking is the way things work, and you got to start to turn around and like start all over again. It's almost like refreshing, what you've learned, and realize that if you want to have that life and you want to be that different and create that kind of income that's not like anyone else, you cannot be like anyone else. So this is where your fingerprint, the uniqueness, comes back. You comparing yourself to others is the worst thing you can do for yourself. It's the worst thing you can do. You have something, if you have a desire to be in business, or if you have a business and it's not thriving, this is something you might want to look at. So, one of the things that I notice is when you first start your business, you're like a kid. You're naive. You have no idea what you're getting into. Everything is like all, fun and it's exciting, but you have no idea. You haven't been on that level for too long to know what comes with it. So you're just out there being you. You're being authentic. You're sharing what you love, and you don't know what you're doing really. And it's so fun. And then you just start to move into it. Now, some people who are into their second, third, fourth year of business, they might understand what I'm about to talk about. But sometimes this is what stops people, because that fun stage starts to dissipate, and they start to get awareness, or they get experiences now of what it's like to have their own business online, their own coaching business. And what comes with that isn't always like, roses. So you're going to have a lot of people that might judge you. There are going to be people that are going to say things that aren't positive about you. There are people who are going to reject your programs. They're going to say that something that's too pricey, or it's not good. There's all kinds of things that come now once you've dove in, and now you're online, you're teaching, you're coaching, you have your business. So one of the things that I find is people, and this affected me as well, is my first round of business, which was in, I think it was 2020, was just a shit show. I didn't know any of this information. I was just excited about starting and sharing things that I absolutely loved. But one of the things I didn't realize was how important staying in your own lane is. And I know a lot of people see this online, and I think some people take it in a negative way, but that's about their own growth. Staying in your own lane really is about minding your own business. And humanity has a problem with that. Most of humanity can't mind their own business. But as you grow and evolve as a leader, and in your emotional intelligence and in your experiences, you start to actually naturally move into that as a natural state. You are not here and worrying about other people. You're here because you have something to say. You have a purpose. You have meaning behind your entrepreneur business or your coaching business. So when I talk about staying in your own lane, this is one of the things I did. And I didn't realize I was doing it at the time. But what I did was, once I got the experiences, I started to get the feedback. And it's not all positive. There's a lot of great stuff that gets you really excited. But one of the things you don't want is to be validated from external conditions, so that when people love your product and they're buying your services and they're saying all these amazing things in your comments and DMing you and saying how great you are, if you rely on that to light you up, to keep you going, that's going to be a problem down the road. because there will be people that are come in and say the opposite. What are you going to do in that time? So when you have these experiences, one thing I realized was I went back to the basics. I went back to, okay, what was I like when I started my business? I was in my own lane. So one of the things that helps you get over imposter syndrome, which is comparing yourself to others or worrying what other people think about you, is you start to really you hone in on why you are doing the business that you're doing. What is it that lights you up? Why are you doing it? Right? That's very, very important. But the staying in your own lane is, I look at it like you just have this kind of vision. Okay. You aren't worrying about what other coaches are doing. You're not looking at their brands. You're not looking at how much money they're earning. You're actually in the moment. You're enjoying what you're doing. And you're actually not living from external conditions. You're living from your inside out. Now, what do I mean by that? I mean your intuition, your instincts. What is it that you're getting these downloads to do? A reel? Are you getting a download to go live and talk about something that really inspires you? Where did you get your ideas from, this next program or this masterclass or whatever you're selling? These things flow to you in overflow when you're in your own lane. Okay, when you're in the zone, when you're in your own lane, you do not worry or concern yourself about anything else that's going on around you. And this really helps also with your self-worth, your self-esteem, and all of this. It all comes together. And I'm going to share this. So when you think about being in your own lane, how many of you are possibly looking at a bunch of coaches or a bunch of entrepreneurs that are in the same niche as yourself? And you're always watching them, you're comparing yourself to them, you're looking at where you are and saying, I'm not even close to that, or I won't be able to do what they're doing. These things there are going to stop you in your tracks. They're not doing you any good. And it's not positive feedback for where you are. So, like I said earlier, a lot of us don't want to share with the world or share with your clients where you are. You want to look like you're better than where you are right now. You want to have this fake image like the successful people who've done the work. And you think that your clients are only going to buy from you because you have that image. But you have to understand it's an energetic exchange. It's you they're buying. So there's a lot of different aspects to different places in business. Some people are ahead of others. Some people are at their beginning stages. So wherever you are is perfect for certain clients right now. But if you try to be somewhere you're not, you're setting yourself up for a lot of problems, not only energetically, but people, you won't be able to share the truth. You won't be able to be authentic because you haven't actually had that experience yet. So the imposter syndrome is just setting yourself up to fail because you're trying to be somewhere that you're not. You're not being grateful for where you are right now. You're not accepting that, hey, I'm just starting, or I'm just switching and rebranding my business, or I've been in business for this many years. I should know more, but I don't. So I'm going to make it look like I should be this far. All of these things are just internal garbage that we have to get rid of because it's always about your energy first and foremost. So if it's not squeaky clean and it's not authentic and you're not being truthful, it's going to come back and slap you in the face and it's not going to be nice. And it's very hard to sustain things when you're not being authentic. How many of you have fallen under the imposter, fallen under it in any situation? So many people do this when they start relationships. They pretend to be this great human, try to impress this person because they really want to be with them. But it's heavy and it can't last forever because it's not natural. You're trying to be someone you're not, so it's taking effort. And eventually, this person starts to see you. And whether they just say, hey, I've been with you this long, I'm going to stay anyways, or they leave you, you have to understand it's how we do everything. Being your authentic self up front, this is who I am, take it or leave it, is the best way for you in anything you do, because that'll attract your ideal clients that are perfect for you to work with. It gets rid of the ones that shouldn't work with you because there's no mismatch in your message. And it's not difficult waking up, creating content, showing up and doing lives like this, showing up and doing reels like this when you are being your authentic self. It takes work to try to create content. It takes work to try to figure out what to post when you're not being you. So when I say stay in your own lane, what I did was I actually stopped following the coaches that I was following because I fell under what I'm sharing with you guys today. Comparison. I never copied things. I always felt yucky. I'm not going to copy someone else's. Like my ego wasn't going to let me do that. But I did compare myself. I did feel like I should be further along. And I realized this is not doing me any service. Where am I putting myself in my mindset, in my leadership, in my vibration? It was not going to add to me. It was going to take from me. So this is where awareness comes in and understanding who you are. And this is also perception, right? When you start to have more confidence in yourself, when you start to understand these principles, you're okay to see other people succeed and it doesn't matter. You're very happy for them and you can still keep moving. You're not being validated by your external circumstances. You are in your own lane because this is self mastery. This comes with emotional intelligence. This comes with experience. This comes with stick to itness. Like you have to stay and play the game. You can't just get out when it isn't working. So this is where you stay in your own lane. You might want to, I shut off all coaches except for two, because these were the two that I knew that I was, first of all, some of them I was working with, and other ones I knew I was going to work with. I just wasn't ready at that moment. But what they were teaching, I was doing certain classes. I was watching them. I was very attracted to their way of doing things. And I only just looked at them. But then the rest of the time, I didn't scan social media. I wasn't looking what the biggest trend was. I didn't care. Because if I'm going to be different and I'm going to be unique, why would I want information from the social media platforms to tell me what's the trends, what's to do? Because I trusted that to be unique, I have to be me. So I just stayed in my own lane. I didn't look at anybody else's uh, social medias. I didn't look at what they were posting. I didn't look at how much people were making. I didn't care. I started really zoning in on me. What did I want to teach? What was making me happy? Why did I start my business? And what am I going to start sharing with the world? And let me tell you, you're much happier. You're more creative. You're no longer comparing yourself to anyone else so that your confidence goes up. And one of the things that I don't know if you guys realize this yet, you're absolutely fine tuning the most powerful part of you, which is your intuition. You're tapping into the quantum field or to the field or to source, whatever you want to call it, when you're in your own lane, when you're literally being you. When you're not being you, you've got a scrambled signal. You might as well you'll get some good stuff come through once in a while, but a lot of it's going to be scrambled because you're not being in harmony with your true self. This is vital, not only for your energetics, but because people can see through it, right? I don't know how many of you have done this where you can go onto a platform, scan or scroll by, and you can read something from them and you can feel this is like icky. It feels okay, but it feels like planned out, or it doesn't feel like this person's really being themselves. It feels like it's curated and the copy's perfect because it's about what will people love to hear? What will make people buy or like me to stay and follow me? One of the things that I remember is I never had any of those thoughts. I didn't care if people liked or followed me. I'm in my own lane, meaning I was focused on what I was doing to give to other people. I was in love with what I was teaching, what I was sharing. I didn't even look at my analytics. I didn't look at how many people were following me because I didn't care, right? I didn't care. So the comparison again is gone. It's like people will follow you, great. People don't follow me, don't matter. Am I going to still show up? Yep. And so this is where that self mastery comes in, where you're not allowing validations or external conditions to dictate who you're going to be, how you're going to show up, what you're going to teach, how you're going to teach it. It don't matter. What do you feel called to do? And what's really important is trailblazers, the ones that brought new things to the world. And people usually made fun of them or thought, oh, that'll never work, or no one's going to buy that. We've all heard that. But they still stayed with it because there was something saying to them, just keep going, right? Because that's how you set new standards in this world. That's how you create new things in the world. That's innovation. If you stayed with everyone else's and just changed your thing up, where are you changing things in the long term things? You're not. You're just rearranging things and then you hope people are going to buy from you. Now you're basing it on your pricing. It's not based on who you are. When people buy from you, especially as a coach, it's really not pricing for everyone. It's the feeling they get from you. It's the authenticity they feel from you. It's the relationship. If you're being real and authentic and you're telling stories and you're just showing up as yourself, that is the thing that's going to blow your business up because people can relate to that. right? I was like her. Oh, I'm like her now. Or I used to think like that. What did she do to change that? She's telling us this truth. Like these are the things that you can relate to. And if you don't relate to it, you'll just scroll by. But there are people that will relate to it because heart to heart, heart-centered coaching, heart anything, being real is magnetic. And you can feel the person's being real, right? And they're being authentic. And if they make a mistake or if they say something wrong, that's just being human, right? So they're okay with that. They're not trying to curate some perfect image for you to buy from them because you're coming from want. First of all, you should be coming from service first, doing what you love, and everything else is going to just come back and multiply. That's all through laws. Okay. So staying in your own lane is very important in terms of just focus on what you're here to do. What is your intuition directing you to do? And listen to that, trust that, and know that it's going to be different than anyone else or most people. So that's why comparing, when you get intuition to do something in your social media or to teach something different or to start something different, and you're going to base that on, well, I don't see that in the external world. So that means that nobody cares about that. No one wants that. This is wrong. That's not true at all. You never want to decide. Okay. You never want to make decisions based on external conditions of what others are doing. You base your decisions on, does this feel aligned for you? Are you excited when you think about this? Yes, I'm a little nervous because no one else is doing it, but so what? Do you feel aligned? Because there's a difference with your intuition when you feel aligned and scared compared to when you're being an imposter and you're scared. Because you know, like, I'm not even being me, and people are going to see right through me, and I'm going to look like stupid, and no one's going to, buy from me because I don't even know if I can really show them how to do this because I haven't done it yet. So these are the things you have to remove. This is foundation. Just like when you build a home, if you build it on a very shaky foundation, it's going to wobble and then drop. It's going to fall. And I think a lot of people are missing the foundational pieces to their business, to their life, because how you do this is how you are everywhere in your life. So it's how you are as a parent, it's how you are as a wife or a husband, it's how you are as a CEO, it's how you are as a partner. Okay. It's how you are as a business owner. So just allow yourself to show up as your true self. You'll be led towards doing things that are going to bring you more than you can possibly imagine if you based everything on the logic and what's out there right now in your conditions. Okay. The trailblazers, the innovators, the coaches and entrepreneurs and business who bring things that are new, these are the ones that everyone wants to be around. These are the ones who everyone wants to learn. What did you do? How did you do this? And the biggest question that I would always encourage everyone to ask themselves is never what to do. Ask if someone's doing something that you absolutely would love to have. You want to ask this question to yourself: who are they being? Because the action or what they're doing is secondary. So who are they being? Look at who they're being. Are they authentic? Are they real? Are they showing up all the time? What are they teaching? What are they talking about? Do they make mistakes? Do they care if their hair is perfect? How's their branding? Who cares? They just show up and whatever. These are the things you want to look at and say, okay, who are they being? Because they're always going to change their beingness as they grow and evolve. But wherever you are now, you're attracted to certain people. You want to learn from certain people. You're looking at who they're being, because that is the primary. That's the foundation of everything in your life, is who you're being. It's not what you're doing. And I know more and more of you are seeing this online, and I don't think people truly understand, what does being mean? Because being involves all of the invisible things that most people don't even talk about because they're too busy focused on the physical things of the doing. And I've said this and I will continue to say this in everything I talk about. The third dimension is a manifested realm of experiences. That's why time and space is here, is to experience things. Creation happens in the moment where there is no time and space. You can call it quantum field. You can call it the ether. You can call it anything you desire. But where things start, the original beginning, is never in the manifested third dimension. So this is why I always say, if you want to change anything in your life, it doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter how big or small it is. Don't go try harder in the third dimension. Quit working your ass off and struggling. You're doing it backwards. There is an effortless way to create a life that you love, a business that you love, something you're thriving in, and it's never done through struggle. Because when you're being your authentic self, you will download information from your higher self, your soul, your spirit, and the intuition is the biggest guide, and you trust it. But you have to be able to trust it. So, one of the things I want to share with you, when I started my business, I had no idea about what reels were. Reels. I didn't know what platforms were the platforms to go on because I didn't do all that work. I didn't go look at all the rules, right? I saw them online. Oh, you have to post between 9 and 10 a.m. or you won't get anyone buying. You have to always post 17 times a day or you're not going to have a successful business. Oh, you have to have an email list or you're not going to have a business. You have to go live at least 5 times a week or your business isn't going to work. Yes, I did see these rules, but I didn't pay attention to them because I was nowhere near going to be able to do that. I was nowhere near able to say, I'm going to go live 5 times a week. So that I didn't pay attention to. I did not pay attention to that. So, because that would just make me stop. So this is what I mean about staying in your own lane. Where were you? Where are you when you're wherever you are right now? Starting your business, rebranding, or maybe your business is kind of stale. It's not as exciting anymore. This might be something that might help you. You go into your that child thing, imagination, creativity. There's not a lot of creativity in the external world. That's all things that have been done through their imagination. You need to go into the imagination and create something fun, something that resonates with you, something that's different and unique, and be able to own that. You're going to be unique. Okay, I can handle that. If not, do the inner work. Don't be like anyone else. So what I did was I didn't realize I was doing this, but I started listening to my intuition. I had not been on social media platforms. I had no followers. I had nothing, zero, flatline. But somewhere I got some intuition to go onto TikTok and just start doing something called Reels. And I didn't even realize that this was in 2022. So Reels were actually a thing that was being pushed through certain social media platforms. I didn't know any of this. I'm not someone who is technical. I'm very easy and basic, and I want a simple business. So I wanted to do simple things. So I started listening to my intuition. I started learning about reels, and all I've done to this day, I love doing reels. I love doing them more than anything. But I was given that intuition to do that. And I didn't care about who was following me. I was doing nothing through validation and seeing if it was working. I was listening to my heart. I was listening to my intuition. It felt fun. It was exciting. I was sharing information and I got to learn how to do reels. And for whatever, it was easy for me. I just learned it, right? Did a couple of Google things and found out how to do it. You play with it and you get better and better at it, right? And what I realized was within, I think, 6 weeks, I didn't even care. One of my friends said to me, "Did you know that you have like 8,000 followers on TikTok?" I'm like, "What?" Like I thought like having 500 followers would be amazing. Like I didn't even really put any boundaries. I just didn't even have any idea what would be good and how long things would take, and I didn't care. And then I started noticing like around that time, I think I had 5,000 on Facebook and then I had like 8,000 or whatever on TikTok. But Instagram was very slow for me at the time. I think I had 200. But it didn't matter because that wasn't making me do what I was doing. That had no effect on what I was doing. People were following me, great. People didn't follow me, didn't care. I just was in love with what I was doing. And this is where there's no attachment, right? So I just wanted to share this in terms of understanding like within I think 2 months, maybe 3 months, I was at like 30,000 followers on TikTok. I might have been, I think I passed it on Facebook. So I was maybe at 60,000 followers. Now, when you think about yourself right now, some of you might be thinking you're trying to get followers. You're paying ads to get followers. You're trying to get followers. What I'm trying to say is energetics is important. When you're trying to get something, you're going to always try to get something. You're going to keep getting experiences through the law of attraction, law of a cause and effect, that what you put out is what you're going to get back. So if you're trying to get and you're attached to this is going to slow things down or not even allow it to come into your life. I had no attachment. Think of things when you've done things where you're not attached to it. It's like, okay, whatever is good, but I'm still moving. So I had no attachment. I wasn't looking. I wasn't hoping people were going to follow me. I had no thoughts of people following me. I was just creating content, stuff I loved, and I was doing reels, which I thought was so fun. And so this is where one day I just looked. It's like, how do you have all those followers? I don't even know. So this is why when I teach this, right? I teach this. I'm like, well, I can tell you, I I just led myself through my intuition and the magic and the spirit that works behind the closed doors There is magic that moves, laws that happen if you're in harmony with them, that does a lot of the manifestation work for us. Now, if I would have tried to get, 60,000 followers in five months or 4 months, do you think I would have gotten that? Probably not. If I would have tried to go the logical route and Googled all, how do I get 60,000 followers, and listened to all the YouTube videos and all the perimeters of what you do. Here's the thing. I did not go live between 9 and 10 a.m. because that's when most people were there. I didn't follow those rules. I actually rebelled against them because I hate being told what to do. I'm thinking if I'm great and I'm bringing out stuff, people all over the world have different timelines, different times of day. They'll watch it if they resonate with it. That was my attitude, right? If they're meant to see it, they will. No attachment, no rules, no email list. Oh, okay. I can't be successful without an email list. Well, I'm going to just not have one on purpose then because I want to prove everything wrong. To this day, I don't have an email list. Now, what about all the other things about, 5 times a day going live and all these things? I didn't do all that because when you feel like you have to do those things, you're creating resistance. How many of you in a business right now, or think about it, think, oh my God, I have to do lives every day. I've got to do reels all the time. I've got to post all the time. You get worried, you get fear. It feels like a job. It feels like too much work. It's just not something that resonates with you. Don't do it. Always lead yourself from where you currently are. Trust me, you will move and get to that place where you're so excited to post more, or you're so excited to do more reels or whatever, you'll do it. But where you are right now is perfect. If you post once a week right now, just post once a week and keep that consistent. Because trust me, you'll be given intuition to do something else. And if you listen to it, it'll guide you towards something different. So this is just a little bit, I didn't want to get into all that with you today, but what I wanted to share was stay in your own lane means don't let anything external to you stop you or influence you in any way, shape, or form of what it is that you truly want. Don't let the rules tell you what to do. Don't let the colors and the branding and what other people are doing and all this, people making all this money. Don't let those things, if that bothers you or if that's hindering you, and that's, just shut it off, right? Live from inside out. Stay in your own lane. Don't worry about comparing yourself to other people because no one can be compared to you. There's no one on this planet that can teach or do whatever it is that you're doing. So allow yourself to be the boldest, the most authentic piece of you. Show all of it. Be vulnerable. This is the way to create a very successful business, especially in coaching and online entrepreneurs, because it's a personal thing. You're relating to other people. So if you're being fake, if you're lying, if you're not being your authentic self, do you not think at some point somewhere you're going to be caught and figured out? And then what's going to happen to your reputation? What's going to happen to your own self-confidence, your own self-esteem? What's going to happen to the trust with these clients? So this is where from the beginning, the foundation, you show up as who you are, where you are, and where you are is perfect. You do not need to be where all the so-called successful people are. You're successful because you showed up. You're successful because you're leading yourself to do something that you're in love with, and you're going to figure it out. And one of the things I want to leave you guys with is if you know how you're going to do something, you're not creating anything new. That's why a lot of people like myself, coaches that you watch when they first started, and even sometimes now, they don't know what they're doing. Like they have a strategy, they have certain outlines, like a format of how they do things, especially the more years into business, you have to have some kind of strategy in place to, scale your business and so forth. But when they get these downloads, when they do these certain things that are new, they're like, I have no idea if it's going to work. I have no idea what I'm doing, but I'm loving this and I'm going to do it and see what happens. If it works, great. If it doesn't, you learned, but they're having fun. So if you always know what your moves are, you're not changing and you're not bringing something new to the table. That's why the intuition is so powerful. It's giving you something new that's not common that you can bring to the table that's going to help yourself grow and help others grow. But most people dismiss it because it's new and they're like, oh, no, no. If no one else is teaching this, then I can't teach it because obviously like it would be out there already. No, it wouldn't be. No, it wouldn't be. Okay. So Know that when you do get your intuitive hits, know that when you get these beautiful downloads, they're not going to be normal to your mind. They're not going to be normal to what you see. So here's the thing. If you stay in your own lane, you wouldn't know if they were normal or not. You wouldn't know if anyone else was teaching this or not because it's oblivious. You're not paying attention to what's going on in that world, except for like a couple coaches that you really know and you want to grow from and evolve you and your business. But the rest, you just don't want to know what's going on and you just listen to your heart, you listen to your intuition. And I can tell you, you can never go wrong when you do that. I had no clue why I was being led towards doing reels, but it brought all kinds of followers where if I was looking from the external and living from the outside and the rules and googling how to get clients, how to all this, that didn't work and it wouldn't have felt right. But you get more when you're not attached to it. You get more when you're leading from your heart and your authentic self, and you're letting yourself lead through your intuition towards something new. Okay? You do not want to be like everyone else. You do not want to look like everyone else. Okay? You want to just be you. So sometimes it takes some time to actually get to know who you really are. And that's the inner work, taking time to really get to know who you are. Questions like, who am I? What kind of business do I really truly want and why do I want it? These are great questions to ask yourself. Even if you're in business, did you pick the right choice or did you do it just because you thought it would make you a lot of money? If we do anything to get, only to get, it's going to fail because we're going against law. If you're doing something to give first, through the natural laws, what you give, you get back. So think about what you're giving every day. It doesn't have to be a lot. It has to be authentic and real. But think about what you're giving every day. And if you're not attached to getting, you're doing it knowing that it's your business. Of course, you're going to get paid. You're going to grow your audience. I mean, you are going to get things, but you're not doing it for the getting. You're being it because it's who you are. And that's going to bring you the income you want, the quantum leaps you want, the success you want, the freedom you want to do whatever it is you want to do, the impact. And then you can give that to your clients to understand that because this is information that goes against most of what we've been taught. So I found for me, because when my first business failed, I realized everything that I was told to do, I did, and it flopped. So then I did everything the way I felt called to do it, whether it was part of the normal, part of the paradigm, part of the system, what everyone else is doing. And one of the things I really love to do is when everyone else is going one way, I go the other. Because that's where you'll stick out. That's where your uniqueness comes through. But you cannot listen and base new ideas from anything that's manifested in the third dimension. Your new ideas, your trailblazing ideas, those fantastic things that will set you apart from everyone else comes from your intuition. It comes from the field. So connect with the field. You'll get something new to teach, new to bring to the world, and you will be that person that stands out because you're bringing something that no one else is talking about. You're bringing something out that no one else even knew about. And that puts you in your own lane. So I hope that helps. Have a great day.